Miss Linda here. So today let's talk about why are you in a bare minimum relationship and how to level up mentally. So the other day I was in a conversation with this babe and she's been in a committed relationship for over 5 years. They even have a family and she has a successful job, but she still is so unhappy because the man has not committed to her officially the way he's supposed to. He doesn't really step up to the plate in terms of providing for the family. And it got me thinking because this baby is very successful in her own right. She has her business thriving, she has everything going on for herself, but the one thing she just can't figure out is her relationship. So many women confuse their outer looks for being a high value woman. And it reached a point whereby I had to explain to her that high value does not only have to do with your looks. You can have the most amazing makeup, the designer clothes, you can have all the money in the bank. That still does not make you a high value woman. A high value woman is one who really has a very strong sense of self, and then the outside packaging only complements the woman that she already is on the inside, especially if she leads with her femininity. And many times, most of the content out here, when it comes to leveling up, when it comes to femininity, when it comes to being a high value wife, not even wife, a high value woman, is really focused a lot on the external appearance. So they'll tell you, have your hair in a certain way, sit in a certain way, talk a certain way, go to only certain places. All that stuff is beautiful, but it's usually very, very shallow. And it's usually the easiest place to glow up externally. Think about it. If you want to change your look, all you have to do is go change your hair, get a new wardrobe. That doesn't cost so much in terms of effort, unless, of course, maybe you don't have the funds. But even with that scenario, you can still go to a thrift shop and change your whole entire look. However, what makes you become a high value woman is when you glow up mentally, when you elevate your level of thinking. As women, we are a collection of our thoughts. Think about it. Anytime you're around a certain person, the kind of experience you have with them is based on how they speak. And how people speak usually comes from what they feel in their hearts and what they perceive life to be. That's why some people are so refreshing to be around, like you'll feel so high vibe when you've been around them. And other people, like when you're done being around them, you just feel so drained because their outlook is really on the negative, and it's always so draining to be around them. You are a collection of thoughts creating an experience. And you can have the biggest job. I mean, you can have everything going on all the external factors, look good, smell good, have a fat bank account. But if you are still struggling with your romantic life, if you still are not getting the respect, the attention, the affection, the appreciation that you need, it really is time for you to start looking at internally, what is it that's put you in such a position? Because many women claim that yes, they want they want love, they want a certain kind of romantic experience. But then again, ask yourself, do you really, really want that? Like deep down, do you feel worthy of that? I had one of my friends, she was single for a really long time. And she eventually found this guy that she really liked. And she had always wanted to get a provider man. Definitely, she deserves a provider man. I mean, everyone deserves the kind of man that they want. But 2 months later, she was already self sabotaging. She was already sabotaging herself. Like, you could feel that she was approaching that man with so much fear. And yes, granted, many women have been hurt in love before. Yes, we've gone through whatever you've gone through. However, if you can reframe that experience and you start to look at it not as memories that you keep crying about over and over again, but you look at your past failed love experiences as an opportunity for you to learn and grow, for you to advance mentally so that you can attract whatever it is that you want. I had to also go through the same experience. I mean, when I got married, I was in my 20s. Right now, I'm 10 years later, things are different. I've grown, I've changed. It reached a point in my marriage where I also had to look at myself. Because the thing is, life will always throw experiences to teach you that you still need to grow. And in my case, my biggest lessons in my life came from my romantic relationship. It was until I got separated that I had to really sit back and start to look at, Linda, what are some of the fears? What are some of the internal limiting beliefs that I had that contributed to the disharmony in my own relationship? So when it comes to mentally leveling up, there are a few things. First of all, it takes for you to decide. You have to decide that you want to change your love story. And this is what I told this babe on the coaching call. I told her, yes, fine, you've been in this relationship for X number of years. Your man doesn't look after you. You have to pay all the bills. And basically, he's unbothered about you. Okay, fine. So that's your scenario. So what do you want? What do you truly want? You have to reach a point where you decide that no more. As the wearer of your shoe, if you're wearing a shoe and it has a thorn in it, you're wearing it and it keeps pinching you. You have two choices. Yeah? To either decide to remove the shoe, remove the thorn and throw it away and allow the wound to start healing. Or you can decide, you know what? This is my only shoe. I fear I'll never ever get any other shoe. Therefore, I'll continue wearing that shoe. Those are the two choices you have. As a babe, if you find yourself in a relationship where you're not getting your needs met, maybe the man has been dangling their marriage carrot. You're now going into year number 5. Maybe the man doesn't make you feel emotionally safe. Maybe the man has just simply refused to take up his masculine role and provide for you. You have to decide that this is it. You have to decide that this is enough and something needs to change. Part of having your feminine energy, and this is something I see so many people not talking about. Feminine energy can be very destructive in nature. Your feminine essence is around rebirthing, letting go of the old and bringing in the new. If you think about that process, it's not a smooth journey. It is a point where you're like, enough, and I'm not going to accept this, and I'm going to start doing things differently. And even at the point where you are feeling like you've had enough, it's okay to feel that rage. Rage is okay. Rage is fine. Anger is okay. Sadness is okay. And I see so many people, so many women. I remember, like, even when I was working, I would have some of my older married friends. They'd overspend so much money, like buying, very expensive shoes, very expensive makeup, like doing so much financially because deep down they were not happy in their marriages. You have to reach a point where you have to process those emotions. You have to feel those emotions and then from there decide that you want to do differently. And if you're in a relationship with such a man, it can go either way, yeah? And you deciding could either mean that, you know what, enough of this, I'm not going to engage in this kind of conversation. I'm going to risk my relationship and move out. That is what decision means. Deciding does not mean you sitting in a relationship and yelling and screaming throughout for years and years on end and expecting shit to change. No. In fact, if anything, it's toxic. Huh? That's very codependent, honestly, because the man will learn to accept you the way that you've taught him. Yeah? So it's like, okay, this babe will just scream and yell and shout, and I'll still not give her any money anyway. I'll still not marry her anyway, and she will still be here. That's how you've positioned yourself. Women position themselves for bare minimum relationships. And it's because for the longest time, you probably didn't realize you're worthy of more. Maybe nobody told you you're worth more, but I'm here to tell you you're worth so much more. You're worth so much more than what you're getting. And the thing is, no one can tell you as much. The biggest person who has to tell you your worth, who has to keep affirming herself, is you. When you wake up in the mirror every day, you have to look at yourself. Think back to when you were 5 years old. What did that little girl want? What did that little girl feel? What did that little girl need? If that 5-year-old self was to look at you right now, what would she say? Would she be like, oh my God, you've turned out so well, I'm so proud of you? Or would she still be like, oh my God, what happened? You have to be the one to decide that you want to do things differently. And this decision, by the way, not many women will take it. I coach women one-on-one and also in group conversations. And many of them are still stuck on the fear side. Many of them still want to sit in that old familiar pain. Leveling up is, you can't want to level up and level down at the same time. That is just the absolute truth. You're either deciding you're going to let go of the old and then start moving towards the direction that you want, or you're going to stick in the same miserable, uncomfortable scenario whereby on the outside you look like a princess, but on the inside you're slowly dying. I saw this quote that really made me think so much. They were like, some people already died at 25, yet they are still alive at 75. What that means is your soul, like the energy, your life force left you 50 years ago. Some of you are typically walking zombies. Like there's no life going on within you. And that's why you find yourself sitting in a pool of negativities, sitting in a pool of resentment and soaking up in that energy and then wanting to blame everyone around you. Think about it. If you decide that you don't want to deal with this guy anymore, actually what can you do? You just wake up and go. Truthfully, it's really that simple. It truly is that simple. If you decide you don't want to be around somebody who makes you feel the way that he makes you feel, you can decide to pack up your bags and leave and go and figure out what exactly made you stay in this scenario for so long, and figure yourself out and think about what it is that you want. Like I mentioned, the biggest glow up is mental. Because even if you leave this bare minimum relationship, yeah, fine, you decide, okay, maybe you want to point all the fingers at him. Remember, a man is a reflection of you. The kind of man who's next to you is mirroring where you are at mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. So if he's giving you bare minimum, what does that say about you? Why are you accepting bare minimum? And that's why, honestly, it reaches a point where, as women, you have to stop blaming men. A man is only giving you what you accept. He's not chained you. He's not like, unless you're in an abusive scenario, and I really have deep compassion for that. But most of the babes I speak with are just in normal day-to-day relationships where they're being treated less than, and they want to pass all the blame onto the man. No. You also decide. You are the one who decided to say yes to this man. You are the one who decides to put up with him every time he comes home at 6 in the morning, every time he disappears for 2 days. You are the one who decides to live that type of life. And it doesn't matter how much lipstick you put on, that deep pain, that inner pain, that pain that you feel every day when somebody degrades you over and over again, it's really up to you to decide whether you're going to sit in that pain and continue to pass on that generational pattern, because I am sure you must have seen that somewhere when you're growing up. So it's really up to you to decide whether you're going to bring up your children in that environment where they see all that toxicity and then they internalize it. Then hopefully one of them decides to break that chain, if you're not the one who's going to break the chain. But if you've watched this video until now, know that you have it within you to break any generational cycles that are keeping you limited around the area of love. Know that your biggest glow up when it comes to attracting men, captivating men, enchanting men has to do with your mental and emotional state. And if you're looking for support in terms of guidance on how to start your whole mental level up journey, I offer one-on-one coaching, and I also offer group tutoring. So please feel free to reach out to me on my email is in the description box. And let me know what you think about this conversation, and speak to you soon. Bye.